What's up everyone, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is a quick unboxing of the Honor 8X along with a quick hands-on review. So guys, this is the box, and from just initial impressions you can see that the box packaging has been changed. Now this is the packaging for Honor 9N. The color looks kinda similar, but as you can see, for all the previous Honor phones they just gave the name at the top and it was pretty minimalistic. But with this Honor 8X, they seem to have changed their designing principles, or at least the box packaging principles, and they gave us a quick preview of how the phone looks on the front. So for a quick physical overview of the box, on the front we have a quick preview of how the phone looks like. At the bottom it says Honor 8X, and over here it even says AI. So this phone might pack a lot of features related to AI. Now at the bottom over here we have the regular IMEI numbers, pricing, color variants, and it even says Made in China. Okay, this is the first time I'm seeing a Made in China phone in the recent days. So here's a quick look at the specifications. I'll talk about that in a minute, so let's move on. Now on the sides, once again we have the Honor name on the left side and right side, and the sticker is probably from Amazon. Now without any further more delays, let's just get on with the unboxing. As of now, this phone is being sold exclusively online on Amazon.in and Honor's very own website. This phone is available in 3 variants. Base variant is priced at 15,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. Next variant is priced at 17,000 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. And the final variant is priced at 19,000 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Right now it is available only in 2 colors, midnight black and navy blue, and red might launch soon. As of now, only the base variant with 4GB RAM is being sold. Other variants might be sold pretty soon. By the way, I have the navy blue color with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. So guys, at the top we have the phone itself, so let me just put that aside for now. Next we have the IMEI number stickers, and following that we have a cardboard box, and inside that we have the SIM card ejector, some documentation which we'll never read, and finally we have the soft silicone pouch, which I'll show you how it looks like with the phone on in a minute. As usual, I always appreciate brands which offer us free cases in the box. So I'll come back to it later. Following that is a 10 watts power adapter. So the phone doesn't support fast charging and doesn't come with a fast charger inside the box. Next we have the regular micro USB charging cable, which we have been seeing for many ages. So guys, these are all the contents of the box. There are no earphones as always. You have to buy them separately. Now let's come back to the phone. Now this phone comes in a plastic wrapping or plastic cover. I wish something better would have been more appreciated. Now this is how the phone looks on the back. It just has a sticker for IMEI numbers and so on. So let me just peel that off. Okay, that's a surprise. By the way guys, we can remove these stickers. You don't need to keep them on your phone. It looks really ugly. I've seen many people using their beautiful phones with those stickers. Anyway, we can remove them and it definitely won't affect your warranty. This is how the phone looks on the back, and this is how the phone looks on the front. Now let me just put on the case and see how it looks like. So guys, this is how the phone looks with the case on. It has all the cutouts, ports at the top for the secondary microphone, ports at the bottom, and a cutout for the camera module and the fingerprint scanner. It also has a raised lip for the camera module, so even if you place your phone directly on its back, camera module are very well protected. Now even on the front it has a slightly raised lip, but that won't give you a lot of protection for the display, so I will not suggest you to place your phone on its face. By the way, this phone also comes with a free screen guard pre-applied, just like Oppo and Vivo phones, and I really appreciate that. Like, every brand should do that. By the way, even with the case on, these buttons are very clickable. So I really don't have any complaints with this case, and as it is a transparent case, you can see the gorgeous design on the back. Now for a starter, this is definitely a pretty good case, but if you want something more durable, more stronger, for drop protection maybe, get another case. So guys, now let's have a quick physical overview and then check out the specs. Now just like the Honor 9 Lite and Honor 9N, even this phone comes with a 2.5D curved glass on the back with a second generation anti-glare film. And unlike any other phones out there, especially Honor phones, it comes with a double textured design. On the left side it has a grainy texture, and on the right side it has a unique pattern effect just like other Honor flagship phones. Even the central frame holding everything together has a nice matte paint job done to it in the blue color, and it does look quite premium. Now coming to the cameras, on the rear it is a dual camera setup with a 20 megapixel primary camera with f1.8 aperture, and that's followed by a 2 megapixel secondary camera with f2.4 aperture used for depth sensing and taking portrait shots. Below that it has a single LED flash and it says AI camera. Now that's followed by the fingerprint scanner on the right side and Honor branding at the bottom. Now on the front, it is a massive 6.5-inch IPS display with Full HD Plus resolution in the new 19.5:9 aspect ratio with a pretty small display notch. It has 397 ppi and 97% screen to body ratio. Now that's definitely a pretty huge screen with pretty small bezels all around, especially at the bottom. And that too coming from an Honor phone at just 15,000 rupees. Inside the notch, it has a 16 megapixel front-facing camera with f2.0 aperture, earpiece and some sensors. At the bottom, it is completely plain and the bezel is really pretty small. Now coming to the sides, on the right side, it has the power and volume buttons made of metal and they have a nice clicky feel to them as well. At the top, it has a secondary microphone for noise cancellation, and on the left side, it has just the SIM card tray holding 2 nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. If I'm right, Honor 7X or Honor 9 Lite or even the Honor 9N doesn't have a dedicated SD card slot, so it looks like Honor is really looking at the customers and giving us what we really want. Now at the bottom, it has a mono speaker grill followed by a micro USB charging port, primary microphone and a 3.5mm audio jack. Now coming to the rest of the specifications, this phone sports Huawei's very own Kirin 710 processor with Mali G51 MP4 GPU with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. By the way, this processor is built using the 12nm architecture, so it is very power efficient, and currently this is the cheapest phone to sport a Kirin 710 processor under 15,000 rupees. Now this phone will be running a heavily skinned version of Android called EMUI version 8.2 based on Android 8.1 Oreo. Now powering all this is a 3750 mAh battery, and as I've said earlier, it comes with a regular 10 watts per adapter, no fast charging, so it should take around 2 to 2.5 hours to charge this phone completely from 0 to 100%. Now back to the SIM card tray, this phone obviously supports dual SIM, but it also has dual 4G and dual VoLTE, which is pretty great. It also comes with all the basic sensors including compass, gyroscope, it even has the fingerprint scanner as I've showed you earlier, and it even has face unlock feature. Now with all this, it has just a thickness of 7.8mm, which is way less than other phones which offer similar stuff. So guys, now let me turn on the phone and see what we get right out of the box. So guys, as you can see, bezel especially at the bottom on the Honor 8X is very small. Now this is Honor 9N, and as you can see, the bezel on Honor 9N is quite big. They even have their branding over there, while on Honor 8X is quite small. I'll be comparing this phone, especially the display, with other phones as well. For now, let's just go on with the setup. Okay, let me just connect to the Wi-Fi. Now this is something I've been observing recently. Companies very subtly give you the option to install all these applications. Now if you're in a hurry or a rush, you'll directly click install and you'll move on with it, and all these useless applications will be installed on your phone. Now I agree, some applications like PhonePe might be useful, but we can install them later. We really don't need any such recommendations. So let's just go on with later. Now let's finish it up. Now this is our default wallpaper and this is our default launcher. On the left side we have, I guess, Google Feeds, and there's no app drawer as usual. Now for a very quick tip, if you really want an app drawer, you can go to the display settings, then select home screen style and enable this option, and once you go to the home screen, voila, you have an app drawer. Okay, just give it some time, it's changing the launcher. So here we go. Now this is the app drawer and we still have Google Feeds, and that's all. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on, and these are all the applications that come pre-installed. Well, most of the applications are inbuilt system apps, but there is quite a bit of bloatware, like this Camera 360 application, Facebook, Lords Mobile, Netgear, and so on. So if there is any application that you don't use, simply uninstall it because it'll just end up draining your battery and your data. Anyway, let's check out the about page. So this is the Honor 8X, and this one is running EMUI version 8.2 based on Android version 8.1, that's Oreo, and it has September security patch, which is kinda okay. Now coming to the storage, out of that 64GB of space, you get about 53.11GB of space for your user apps and user data. That's definitely more than sufficient, as this phone also comes with a dedicated SD card slot. Now out of that 4GB of RAM, you get about 1.78GB of free RAM right out of the box, which is kinda okay. By the way, this number is not exactly true. You should be having about 2GB of free RAM right out of the box. Now let's check out the camera interface. Let's just give it some permissions. Now this is the camera interface for the rear camera, and you can swipe left or right to change between different modes. And now at the top it has a lot of toggles, and the first one with an eye icon is for a scan application. Now by default you can scan the QR code, or else you can also shop using this application. You can simply point at an object and your phone will try to find that product on the Amazon store. Next it has a toggle for flash. Following that is the moving picture mode, where once you take a picture, it will also record few seconds as video. Next we have the AI mode, which simply supersaturates the colors to make them look more poppy, and it even affects the dynamic range. Now this is the portrait mode, and next we have the night mode, which is a dedicated mode to get better pictures in low lighting conditions. It uses AI to take better pictures. And finally we have the regular aperture mode, which is an awesome feature to take portrait shots of objects. Now your regular portrait mode will not take a portrait shot if it can't recognize your face. So if you try to take a portrait shot of this box, it will take a regular picture. So if you want to take portrait shots of objects, you have the wide aperture mode, and next on the right side we have other modes as well. We have the regular video mode. Let's check the video resolution. So this phone can record video at a maximum of 1080p at 60 fps. There is no 4K, but we do get the option to record video at H.265 codec, which is a more compressed codec to save some space. Now there doesn't seem to be any video stabilization as well, and unlike other phones, on this phone we even have Pro mode for video recording. So if you are someone who takes a lot of videos, maybe use your phone for shooting films and stuff like short films, then this can be really helpful. You also have rest of the modes like AR lens, watermark, and so on. Now this is the interface for the front facing camera, and just from initial impressions, front camera doesn't look all that impressive. Now I'll be taking some sample pictures, so don't take it as my final verdict, but right out of the box, camera doesn't look all that impressive. Now this is for the portrait mode, and you also get the beauty option over here. Let me just slide it down. And if you want to take a portrait shot, make sure this particular toggle is enabled, otherwise it will simply take a regular selfie. Next you also have a night mode and aperture mode. They are for the rear camera, and once you select that, it will switch to the rear camera. Now that's really inconvenient. Now coming to video recording, you can record video at a maximum of 1080p. There's no 60 fps, but that's okay. By the way, if you enable this beauty mode over here, your phone can record video only at a maximum of 720p. So let's disable that. As usual, it also comes with AR lens, and you get to add funny stickers to your face, and you also have backgrounds, which makes it more fun. So those are all the camera features. I guess AI mode is something we really have to look into. Now these are the sample pictures taken using the front and rear cameras. Now let's test the speaker loudness. What's up everyone, I'm from GreedyTech, and in this video I'll be showing you 45 plus features of the Samsung Galaxy A7. Now I've already made a dedicated video on the tips and tricks section, link for that is in the description. So guys, speaker on this phone is sufficiently loud. I won't say it is super loud, but it is quite loud enough, and it should be sufficient for ringtones and alarms. And if you look at the display, I can do the pin gesture on YouTube right out of the box, so that's a pretty good thing. But if you observe the corners, on the right side the curves are much more deeper, while on the left side it's much more subtle. Just like most phones, this notch area is completely blacked out. So even though this phone has a massive 6.5 inch screen, you're not able to use the screen completely. So that's a disappointment, I guess. Now if you really hate this notch, in the display settings you also have the option to disable it. So just do this and the notch will be always hidden. Now going on next, let me register my fingerprint and add my facial data. Now it's time to add facial data. Now if you select this option, that slide to unlock, you have to manually swipe up the lock screen to unlock your phone. Now that can be quite useful to just check the times or notifications, but I'll just go with direct unlock. So now let's test the fingerprint scanner. By the way, phone feels pretty huge. Like, I was really impressed with the screen size, a 6.5 inch display and all, but holding the phone in a single hand kind of feels big, especially for my hands, which are quite big. Now let's test the fingerprint scanner. There is no haptic feedback when I'm using the right fingerprint. And fingerprint scanner is slow. Maybe it is kind of fast when we compare it with phones like 2 to 3 years ago, but right now it is pretty slow. Like, it's literally taking like a second to unlock the phone. Now the fingerprint reader itself is pretty fast, but the phone is taking like a second to unlock. Now that can be improved with a future update, but as of now, fingerprint scanner is kind of slow. I'm literally waiting for the phone to unlock. So that's how slow it is. Now, as I've said earlier, when I use the right fingerprint, there is no haptic feedback at all. I literally have to wait for the phone to unlock. So immediately I don't get any kind of response. Now when I use a wrong fingerprint, it does give a haptic feedback, so that's kinda okay. Now let's test face unlock. Okay, it seems to be fast. Lock screen, unlock. So guys, face unlock seems to be working slightly faster than fingerprint scanner, at least definitely better than other Honor phones launched earlier. Now I'm going to close my eyes and see if it will work or not. And it's not working. Now I'm going to wear my glasses and see if it will unlock. With my glasses on, which are pretty reflective by the way, it's more of a hit or a miss. Sometimes it misses, but most of the time it is unlocking the phone pretty quickly. Now I've turned off all the lights, so let's see if it works. It's not working. And it works. So guys, in complete darkness or complete low lighting conditions, it is still working, but it is not fast. Like it's taking like a second or two, definitely longer than well-lit conditions. But hey, it's still working. Lights on. So guys, in well-lit conditions, it is pretty fast. It is definitely usable. And in low lighting conditions, it misses sometimes and it takes like a second or two, which is manageable, but this phone does have a fingerprint scanner, so I would rather use a fingerprint scanner in low lighting conditions. Now these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. Now for a quick comparison, on the left side I have the Honor 8X and on the right side I have the Honor 9N, and as you can see, bezels on the 8X are much more smaller, especially at the bottom when compared to the 9N. Even the back design is completely different on both the phones. On Honor 9N and even the Honor 9 Lite, back is pretty much plain, it's just like a mirror. While on the 8X, it definitely looks more premium. Now this time, this is the Realme 6 Pro. So it is smaller, definitely smaller, but as you can see, once again, bezels are pretty huge on the Redmi 6 Pro, especially the bottom bezel. Now for another quick comparison, I have the Poco F1. So once again, pretty huge bezels as you can see, especially the bottom bezel is massive on the Poco F1. While it is pretty small on the Honor 8X. Now finally we have the Huawei Nova 3i, and it looks pretty similar, but on the whole, bezels on the 8X are definitely much more smaller. Now on the right side I have the Realme 2 Pro, and as you can see, the bottom bezel on the Honor 8X is still smaller. So I was really wondering how Honor was able to achieve 91% screen to body ratio even though they have the regular notch. By the way, Realme 2 Pro, which has the water drop design, has almost 91% screen to body ratio, so that's understandable. But I was really confused how Honor 8X was able to achieve that. That's probably because of this pretty small chin at the bottom. So guys, this is the new Honor 8X, which is priced at 15,000 rupees, comes with the latest Kirin 710 processor with an awesome looking back and a massive display on the front with pretty small bezels. Now this phone also comes with GPU Turbo, which is supposed to improve the gaming experience of games like PUBG. So if you're a fan for PUBG and want a massive display with pretty good cameras, then this might be a pretty good choice for you. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel, and if you want me to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and I'll try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day. By the way guys, if you're wondering why this video is so long, that's because there are too many things to cover with this phone. So let's get started.